Doma India Scarpati. According to your school of thought, after the colt is born, are you closer to the theory behind imprinting, or would you prefer that the colt arrive for taming with some exposure, nothing that would induce stress, but not demanding much either? You took the words right out of my mouth. I don't agree with imprinting. I think it's overblown and a little abusive. I think that if it's well thought out and well done, there would be no negative consequences, but it's generally not done as it should be. And it's true, what we're talking about socializing the colt, it's good for them to have contact with their mother and an understanding of their herd. So it doesn't matter to us if the colt comes to us when they're a year and a half, 7 months old, or 15 months old. It doesn't matter as long as they have had contact with humans. And without aggression. Of course not. Aggression has devastating effects. It's like throwing a wrench in the wheel.
The horse's social behavior. To tame a horse, first, you must understand his behavior. Why is he stubborn? What is his motivation? What are his needs? What is his temperament like? A horse will respond positively to being tamed only if he is comfortable with his owner or tamer, and only an owner or tamer that is emotionally stable can gain the trust of the horse.
In order to achieve a good degree of taming and later on education, you have to try to maintain a high level of positive energy.
Muy bien, gorda. Muy bien.
But to me, she is still a horse. I'm starting to like her. I will never cause her pain. I will never intentionally punish her with the intent to hurt her.
Equine culture. This is Penelope, a beautiful Moorish mare. She has been with her owner since very young and is his pet. However, despite all of the love her owner has showed her, she has a difficult temperament. For that reason, Don Victor brought his mare so that Cristobal can meet her and tell us what is the best way for Penelope to be in a tranquil and harmonious state of mind.
They tell me that when this mare was very young, whenever anyone approached her in the field, she would get angry and a little defensive. That she had periods when she was aggressive, but with good logical treatment, they have managed to get the mare to have moments when she is stable and not aggressive. And when she gets angry, she does what we've seen. She gets defensive. This usually happens because horses in general, and this one in particular, when you don't impart a clear notion of what the hierarchical order is and which order is needed for healthy cohabitation, she will rebel against the hierarchy.
Horses are used to living in herds, and they establish their hierarchy through force. The rest of the group will demonstrate submission through body language. For example, they will lower their head as if they were eating, or they will step behind the dominant male, never in front of him.
jerarquía se impone entre caballos de manera...
Horses impose their hierarchy in a rough manner. Amongst horses, when it comes time to establish hierarchy, they don't consult each other. They give each other commands directly, sometimes through aggressive signals, and sometimes with marked gestures such as kicking and biting. So I'm not just going to attack her. I'm going to put some pressure on her because dominance is always established under pressure, like when there is little food or little water or times of stress. When the herd is in a relaxed state, you can't notice the hierarchy. But if you corral a group of horses and throw them a single portion of hay, you will be able to tell exactly who is in charge and who obeys. And what I want her to understand is this. She's threatening me now. So what is the point of what I'm doing here? I want to establish my dominance like I just did, at the very beginning, because I can't be hitting her all day. I would rather make it very clear and thus have no more problems.
Muy bien, gorda. Sí, lo entendió. Entonces.
Yes, she understood. It may happen that, out of force of habit, she may rebel against what just happened. And I have to be on guard for that, not to punish her, but with the goal of establishing dominance. You never need to strike a colt like this. And what Cristobal is doing there is showing and proving that if you have a healthy relationship with the horse, one that is straightforward, symmetrical, and respectful, the horse won't react aggressively at all. Because the horse doesn't want to start a war. Only humans like to start wars, either because it's in our self-interest or through lack of understanding. So we have to make an effort to behave like him, so that he will understand the meaning of this artificial proximity and what it entails, because the horse does not understand that he is being tamed. I am making demands just so he understands that I'm making demands on him. Clarity, coherence, firmness, and respect. It's very common to see that people make too many demands, particularly on Creole horses, such as asking the horse to lower his head or nose down to the stirrups, the knee, or even in some cases the rider's waist. What is your opinion about that? Is it too much? No, not necessarily. This also varies from horse to horse. Horses are very sensitive when you put pressure on them. With just a little bit of pressure, they can often start to obey. And I try not to overemphasize this. If it's about constant pressure, I can put constant pressure on the bit or on his nose and hold it there for a while. But what the horse will not tolerate and which generates trauma is hard jerking, be it at the bit or inside the mouth or the nose. That hard strike, that hard offensive pull, that is what I tell our students and followers not to do. The issue is not whether to apply force or not. It's about not offending the horse. It's not the same, me pushing you or me hitting you. So it's basically the same for horses. I try not to offend the horse. So I apply all the pressure I need to apply. Better if it's only a little, but it's okay if it's a lot. What I do know is that even though I have to apply just a little bit of pressure at first, I will try to progressively reduce the level of force. In general, horses are very intelligent and perceptive, and if one day you had to exert a lot of force, maybe next time you won't have to do it as much. Doma India Scarpati, making a rope halter.
In order to make a rope halter, we need a rope with a diameter of 6 millimeters and a length of 5 or 6 meters.
I will make this easy to follow. As you can see here, I take one of the ropes. 1, 2.
You make a knot at each rope end, then you pass the tip of the shortest rope through the noose of the longest rope. You must keep in mind that the tip of the rope comes in where the knot rope comes out. On each rope, you make a normal knot. Then we pass the tip of the shortest rope through the knot of the longest rope. You must keep in mind that the rope enters where the knot rope comes out.
I cross the rope over the front knot. And there goes a double knot, which I will explain later, but it won't end up like this. And then I pass the rope over the other knot.
The rope is only used again at the end. You take the long rope and you make a length of 24 to 25 centimeters.
And I make another simple knot. The thickness of the rope is complicating things. I take the rope, the knot which is where you will tie the halter at the end, and I stretch it 45 degrees like this. And I come back and complete the knot in the back. See, I grab the head like this. The rope is so thick that it won't let me work this properly. And then I make the same knot as I did in the beginning, but with all of the strands. With the strand that comes out of this knot down here, I come around to this one over here, which is where the halter is tied. I make another knot.
And finally, we take the shortest strand and we pull on the halter's 2 long strands. You will pull on them until you have 2 equal-sized knots. You pull on the lower part of the halter to tense up the 2 strands so as to make one last knot next to the first knot.
This is a very useful tool. It's cheap and very sturdy. I always recommend to people to make good use of this tool and not to use rope that is too thin because you may end up hurting the horse. So I recommend that people use this tool without letting it become hurtful, and they should not apply too much force or pull on the reins aggressively because these materials are made of plastics or nylon or polypropylene, which can be corrosive if it rubs the skin too much. Using it judiciously, you will never hurt the animal, but you can hurt them through misuse. There he is. He is about to buck. And here as well. Do this before you mount him. Before saddling a horse, ride him bareback. It's easier to climb him, and it's more natural that way. Then, when you saddle him, move this always, and I will move it again as a precaution. It's important to do this when we saddle him. And afterwards, this and this. We inspire trust, and he will lose his fear of ghosts. And I touch him here, because that's where my legs will touch later. And that's when the horse takes a dive, and down I go. The taming period is very short. I'm talking about a month, 2 months until the horse is ready for various tasks such as shearing, visits from the vet, the farrier, deworming, saddling, and general horse management tasks.
Para todo el manejo del caballo,
That is totally doable in 2 months.
absolutamente lograble.
But the work required to make a good riding horse or for sport, we recommend a period of no less than 10 or 12 months.